Yeah. Hey guys, welcome back to I Will Go Down with the Ship. I'm Heather.
I'm Chelsea, and today we are speaking with Anthony about waiting for the start of things that I want. And his username on AO3 is demonic_ant. And we are so excited to have you with us today. Thank you for coming on.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me. A little anxious, a little excited, so I'm
Don't
ready
be
to talk.
nervous. Don't be nervous.
I'm nervous by nature, so
Well, let's have
That should be a t-shirt, first of all.
nervous by nature. That's funny.
Yeah.
So Anthony, really quick, what would you say your top 3 ships are, or what was the first ship you've ever had? Like, let's just do a quick little, like, who are you? Who are we talking to
yeah.
today?
Oh boy. All right, that's a loaded question. One of my all-time favorite ships, and I get a lot of heat for it, is Joker and Harley. I've been
Me
there since
too.
day one.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. It's so hard to talk about nowadays. But
Exactly.
I remember back then it was huge. I read so many good fics. Like that's what
Yeah.
got me into dark romance, to be honest, is Joker and Harley. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's they've always been a big one for me, even before I knew what shipping was, like when I was but a wee child. But so I would say them. Another one that I like to say is the foundation of my tropes with ships is from this cheesy late 90s, early 2000s TV show that I discovered on TNT at 6 in the morning one summer. It's called The Lost World. And actually, me and my best friend bonded over that when we first met. We have matching tattoos for it. It's a whole thing. But there are two characters, Roxton and Marguerite, and Roxton's like this big game hunter, very grumpy, blah blah blah. And then Marguerite is this heiress, wealthy heiress. She's kind of a widower 5 times over. And she's very much she's a bit of a bitch, but I love her anyways. And they're very, they started the whole thing of me having a thing for like my ships referring to each other by everything but their first name, unless things are very serious. So I give it to that. And the third one, oh boy. I feel like I would be doing a disservice if I don't mention, because I'm a big Jurassic Park fan, Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler, another big ship for me that also just shaped everything. So
Is Ellie is the wife. Is
uh,
she the wife?
she Laura Dern, yeah, Laura
Yeah.
Dern's character from the
Okay.
very first one, yeah. So that is, those are, I got so many more, but those are just the 3 that I kind of go back to outside of like Star Wars and Indiana Jones and all that. So
Right, right. Like at
Wait,
Indian
Chelsea, I was gonna say ask
ship.
yeah, I was
Like,
gonna say what's the ship for you, Chelsea? Like we have to figure out if this is if
yeah,
it's cool with us. Like who do you ship from Indiana Jones? Because Chelsea has an opinion.
there's only one answer, and that's Indy and Marion.
obviously,
That's the
yes.
only answer. They're my parents. Come on now.
Yes, exactly. Like literally those two raised me, like Raiders of the Lost Ark raised me.
Yeah.
And I got to meet Karen Allen at Pensacon a couple of years ago. And
Uh,
I had so many things that I wanted to say to her. And I was just like stupefied in that moment and got so tongue-tied and couldn't say anything at all. And I'm so sad about it. But I loved getting a picture with her, and it was amazing seeing her in real life.
I'm
And also, their
jealous.
Indiana Jones panel that they had that year was absolutely incredible. Like John Rhys Davies was there, Karen Allen was
Oh
there.
my
Like,
gosh.
it was incredible. The panel was absolutely amazing.
I'm jealous. I'm a little jealous over here.
So when you met her, you didn't say anything?
Nothing, no words left my body, and I'm so sad about it to this day.
Did like Lake look at you? Like did he like look at you and be like, come on, babe, ask her your questions?
I think he was as starstruck as I was a little
Yeah.
bit. And then like afterward, I was like, oh no, I had so many things in my head that gonna say, and then they all just left because holy shit, my on-screen mom that I've loved for my entire life is standing right there in person, and like my brain literally just like stopped working, busy signal, nothing happening.
I've been there. I've been there so many times, and after that, after like the first 3 times this happened to me with several different people, my
Wait, now I
parent,
need to know your people. Like, what people did
oh
you get tongue-tied
God.
with?
Uh, the biggest one, probably the most recent one, I say recent, it was the last time it happened, was Elijah Dushku.
Oh,
Um, I love her. I've just loved her forever, and I got the opportunity at Comic Palooza I did the photo op with her, and I'm just by then I've met several actors that I liked, so there should have been no reason I got so tongue-tied. But I was standing next to her taking a picture with her, and I very much got hit with the fact that I'm like, I look like a gremlin. I was like, this is not acceptable. But she was so nice and so sweet.
she seems super nice and super sweet. Who
She
is who is your favorite person, or who is the nicest? No, I
oh
feel like, okay, if you could look back at everyone you've met,
hmm
what experience sticks out to you where it was like either poignant because of who they were to you or
yeah.
how nice they were, or like, and you could do a top three too, because now I'm curious of like everyone you've
Yeah.
ever met before.
I'm gonna have to do a top three. So number one has to be Anthony Stewart Head, from Buffy and 50 other million different shows. I was there at San Diego Comic-Con with my mom, and we were at there's a show on Sci-Fi that he was in called Dominion, and we were at the Dominion panel, and we were front row, and I had my nice camera. I'm taking pictures of him, like the whole cast, but him too. And my mom is asking me if I'm going to go up and ask a question about his character. And I said, I don't know. I said, you know how I get, especially with like public speaking. And she starts roasting me right then and there. And it's before the panel even starts. And he's sitting there, he hears, and he just starts laughing and he's giggling. And I got a shot of it. And it was like one of my favorite pictures I've ever taken in my entire life. End up going asking a question anyways, and he remembered, and it was just a very nice little moment. Second would be the entire cast of Bates Motel.
Oh wow, okay.
um,
Including Queen Alicent, right?
yes, including Olivia Cook, which
Yeah.
I'm very protective of her because I've been watching Bates Motel since had first aired, so I've known about her and I've been following her since.
Mhm.
Um, but I've met them twice. The last time though, again with my mom, because we won a trip to San Diego that year for Bates Motel. So we got to go to this after party hosted by Playboy with the entire cast.
That is so cool. That's
And
amazing.
Ron Perlman also got me rum and coke, so that was pretty fun. But so I got to hang out with them, and it was Olivia Cook had just shaved her head for a role, so it was when she was rocking the bald head. But that was really fun. And absolutely loved it. Getting to talk with Vera Farmiga, probably also just like right up there in memories. Third one, oh boy. Uh, so my third one is not con related. I used to bartend at Alamo Draft House in Texas. And we were doing a double feature of Donnie Darko and Southland Tales. And I was sticking around for Southland Tales. And I'm sitting at the bar talking with my friend, having a drink. There's a guy sitting next to me. I didn't recognize him. So I went to film school. So, you know, we organically get into a conversation, all this and this. He walks away because he's getting ready to go to Southland Tales. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm there too. And all that. About before the movie starts, they're doing this big introduction. It's the director of the movie. And we had this like hour-long conversation as Donnie Darko was finishing out. We were having a couple drinks. He ended up paying for my dinner that I bought and decided to say all the drinks were going to be on his tab. And he came up to me afterwards and just said, it was just really nice just to have a normal conversation and not have someone asking me 50 million questions about my movies. And he was more interested in like some of the scripts that I was writing. So I was telling him about that. So it was a really nice moment.
So who's next? Who are you meeting next that you haven't met?
Hopefully, I'll find out here. Hopefully within the next week. It's going to be Walton Goggins.
When? Tell me when.
Hopefully in August. There is a horror con 30 minutes up the road from my parents.
That is awesome.
And I'm waiting on it because we may be moving because I'm living with my parents now again, but we may be moving back to Texas before. So I'm depending on if my mom gets this position she applied for. So we were hoping to know last week. Hopefully we'll know this week. And then once yay or nay, low key kind of hoping nay.
Are you in Florida right now?
I moved up to North Carolina.
Okay, so the Horror Fest is in North Carolina, potentially?
Concord. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
I was in Florida, but just got up to North Carolina last month.
I just know because Walton Goggins is going to Florida in October. So
Yeah.
that's the one I know about.
Yeah.
He's what now?
Yeah, he's gonna be in for I can never pronounce the con, but
it's Spookala or something.
Yeah, Spookala.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, my friend is about to get hit up as soon as this interview is over. Because, like, Heifer, you could have told me that he was going to be in my next door state.
Gosh, yeah. That's so... I just think that he's like... Everything that I've heard about him, he's like the nicest guy. Like, even his stunt doubles, like, oh yeah, we love him. I feel like he's just the type of guy you could go to a bar with and just hang out. Yeah.
And those are my favorite types of people.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. One day there's going to be an I will go down with this ship bar hangout somewhere. It's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
We're manifesting that
right now.
Listen, even if it has to be like a little makeshift bar, I offer my bartending services.
Heyo, all right.
Okay, so I love this discussion. We haven't even got into Ghoul C or the fanfic. I already know this is going to be so much fun. Okay, Chelsea, go ahead. Ask your questions, and I'm just going to sit along for the ride and pipe in every now and then.
So what inspired you to write this particular ship and this particular fanfic? I know that you have a previous one that is connected to this one also, which we will link down in the show notes as well as this one. But what really prompted you to write this one as a sort of follow-up to the previous one?
So I mean, the previous one was just supposed to be a one and done. I wasn't going to touch it again. But in the back of my mind, I convinced myself, I'm like, I kind of left the ending a little too open. And I didn't want people to read it and then kind of have questions, be like, okay, but like, yes, no, like what's happening? So I was like, all right. I was like, I'm going to let me just follow up. And it was supposed to be another quick little, maybe 2,000 word little banger. And next thing I know, it was almost 11.
It was a lot. Chelsea sent it to and I love long fics, and I was like looking at it and I'm like, damn, one shot that's many. I was like, okay, I'm here for it. And so yeah,
it wasn't supposed to be that long, but it kept going, and there was a lot of long nights when I was on Discord with my best friend, because she was making sure she was keeping me on track, because I like to distract myself.
Oh, me too.
And every time I would update her, I'm like, we're at 8,000 words now. She's like, I love it. And I was like, it's not supposed to be this long. She's like, I'm not complaining. Keep writing.
Right, exactly. I love it when characters do that to us, though. Like, I think that's how you really know as a writer that it's good, is because you don't want to stop. Like, the characters have kind of just taken the wheel and they're like, get in, loser. We're going to go do things.
That's exactly what happened.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, Chelsea. That was perfect.
Thank you. I have my moments.
But yeah, so I wanted to do a follow-up just to kind of give a more solidified answer. And then I said that was it. It was just that particular little tale I had to tell was done after this one. And now I'm over here trying to do something else, but I'm like, all right, this might become its own series.
Well, we need a sex scene. So
That's really what I was like, okay, well we got to throw in a little bit of spice, a little bit of flavor in this now.
well,
Yeah.
especially since everyone called her a ghoul fucker in the
Ex-
second one.
exactly. I
And like
mean,
I literally was reading and like I had my phone, and when he said that, I bowed up at my phone for a second, and then I was like, let me calm down.
No, but for real, I love that. I see that in all of the fics, and I'm like, I want them so badly to have it in season 2. Like, I need that because I need to see how Cooper reacts. I need to see how Lucy reacts.
yeah.
I need the jealous, overprotective, don't fucking talk to her like that. I need all of it. And just that one word will give me everything.
Oh,
The
yeah.
ghoul fucker. So the second I read it in yours, I'm like, oh shit, it's gonna fucking go down right now. I am here for it. I love that. I love that. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. There's something about I'm loving when Ghoulfucker pops up in Fix. I'm just like, I get like a kid on Christmas. I'm like, yes.
Giggling and kicking my feet. It's about to get good, y'all.
Yeah,
Honestly.
yes, yes. Oh my gosh, it's like one of the tropes specific to this fandom that I just every time I see it, I'm like, oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
this is good. And I'm sure it's fun writing it too.
It is. It was a lot of fun. Like that particular moment, I knew I was like, I have to have this in here. And I was like, I was debating. I was like, do I immediately have Cooper kind of like jump to her defense at that? And then I was like, nah, I'm gonna, you know what? Let's stretch this out. Because then I had immediately after that, I just had that imagery in my head of like Cooper taking, this dude's head and just slamming it into the bar. And I was like, I have a better moment for that. We're gonna hold off on it.
I was gonna say you're just giving the guy, the asshole, like more rope to hang himself with. You're like, let's see how long this will play out before he realizes what he just got himself into.
And he wanted more rope, and I said, I gotta reel it. This is becoming too long, and I don't want to split this up into 2 parts. I had to cut it off and say, nah, this is it right here.
But like literally that read so well though. And I feel like as a woman, I don't know if you've experienced this, Heather, but like I have definitely, like, everybody's had an experience with that fucking guy. And it felt so true and like on point. And I'm just like, dudes like that, like,
I have not. I feel like it's my RBF. I feel like no one talks to me because
I
of
need
my
some of
RBF.
that. I need to work on my RBF because I've had moments like that in my life with certain people. And now I have Lake, and like, I'm a complete besotted fool for this man, and I have been since like the 3rd grade. And I feel like if anybody ever said anything like that to me, like, he would tell Cooper Howard to hold his beer, and it would just be an excellent moment to watch. And I'm gonna have to write it in a book or a fic at some point.
You really do. Those are fun ones to write.
They are.
He would be having exactly 0% of that shit, just like Cooper, and I love that about him.
I really liked that Cooper, because I'm very curious. I almost feel like Cooper held back because he wanted to see how Lucy was going to react to it. Like when Cooper automatically reacts, like I love that too. But part of me is like, I'm wondering if internally he would want to know how she takes to being called ghoul fucker. Would that disgust her? Would that, like how would she handle it? And I love that he kind of almost gave her the opportunity to handle it. And when it wasn't getting handled, that's when he decided to sort of like step in and be like, okay, she's given you like 3 chances to shut the fuck up and you just cannot seem to read the room. So now I have to do something about it.
Yeah, that's exactly kind of what I was going for because much like anyone who writes, right? Like I write based off a lot of like situations that I have personal experience with. And I have always been that friend that when, situations are happening like that with a friend of mine, I wait until they tell me like, hey, I need help because, I'm not just going to jump in and assume someone can't handle themselves. And then when enough's enough, even if they don't signal me and I could tell like, okay, there's been chances over and over and over again and this person's not getting it, I've always been the one to step in to like shut it down. I mean, so much so in high school, I got into a couple of fights defending friends, but that's a different story. But
You and
I've
my sister would be very good friends, I feel like.
I've always just been like that type of person, just to like, my friends, not necessarily like overprotective, but I step in when I need, like when I see like, hey, they need help. And I think it comes from the fact that I have a younger brother, and I was very much like that with him too, like with the kids on our street, especially the older kids, but
My husband, like literally, he got into several fights when we were in school, like defending people who were being bullied. And I just think that there's something to be said for people who are willing to step up and like take whatever the administration is going to dish out and defend people who are
Mm.
being bullied and like aren't having success for whatever reason defending themselves. Like, I love that and I applaud that.
Oh, 100%. But let's be real here. Cooper is not going to defend anybody else except
No,
Lucy. Like, everyone else can go fuck themselves. Like, the only person he gives any kind of shit about is Lucy.
absolutely. You like everyone else, whatever, you're on your own, but mess with Lucy, it's on.
Yeah.
It's so bad. Like, I want to see it in the show so bad. I could just like
I visualize it like literally I can picture it. The writers have set up so much and I'm
I
just like,
know.
you better fucking cash in on this, because if you do not give me these scenes, I need Cooper to be an asshole to anyone who looks at Lucy the wrong way. I need Cooper to be jealous when Max starts coming around and he's like, oh, I know she should go with
Yes.
her because he's the safe choice, but I want her. I need him to like tell her to shut up when she's talking too much. Like, I need all of this. And if I'm not given it, I want a refund. Like, I just need all of so good.
I need it so bad. And like literally my thing with a lot of mainstream media is like, don't bait and switch my ass because I will
Exactly.
literally for fucking ever. Like, don't do me like that.
No, and then you have me over here who has a degree in film. Like I've written scripts. I've been in film festivals for my scripts I've written. I know all that, and I'm over here going, so much has been set up and with like such little time and so little scenes with them. And I'm like, they need to follow through. If they don't follow through, then what was the whole point of doing all of this?
Literally
Like,
the reason Chelsea and I started the podcast, because as writers, and I feel like in a lot of the crack ships that Chelsea and I have had, it's like, number one, I think that there's no accounting for chemistry, right? So
yeah,
sometimes you get the story that they wanted to happen, but the actors just don't have that chemistry. But I feel specifically for this one, you have the chemistry and you have the story backing it up. And
yeah,
like you said, there is just too much here. Like Chelsea was talking about the I love you graffiti. Go ahead, Chelsea. Like,
yes.
yeah.
I'm so obsessed with that moment and that scene because we all know I have my little like Persephone Hades parallel with the Atomic Queen and the Radiation King and like all of these theories. And that moment when she is drinking the irradiated water is like consuming pomegranate seeds in the underworld. There's no going back from this point. And then we pan and catch a glimpse of graffiti on a wall and it says, I love you. And I'm like, motherfucker, if you don't follow through with this, like all the dominoes are set up perfectly, and if you don't just like tap that son of a bitch and let them all fall, I'm gonna be so pissed off.
Oh, I know. It's that, see, and I like that moment had to be pointed out to me because I didn't catch it the first time.
Same.
But the moment that I have just been chained to the floor and I'm never leaving is when he sews Lucy's finger onto him. Because I remember I watched it a couple days after my friend, because my friend was like, she watched it first and she goes, oh no, she's like, I have a new ship. And I said, what? She's like, you'll find out. And I was catching vibes already from the trailer, and so I was like,
That's me. I shipped it before I even watched them. I knew it. I fucking knew it. I was like, no,
and
I'm gonna go down with this. Yep.
that's exactly what my friend said. And then she watched it. She's like, oh no. She's like, I feared it, and it's true. And she didn't tell me who it was though. And I said, well, who is it? And she's like, you'll see when you watch. And I said, okay. And I was like, I was like, I think I have an idea because me and her, like, we've known each other for like 18 years. So we're pretty same brain cell all the time. But I watched the first episode. I was like, I see parallels. And then, you get to the meeting and I was like, I immediately text her. I was like, oh no. And she's like, yeah. And then you get to the scene of Cooper, sewing her finger on. And I get on Discord and I put in all caps to her and I said, what do you mean he kept her finger and sewed it on? I was like, what do you mean? He's insane.
No, this was me to my husband. Is that her finger? Oh my God, hon, is that her finger? And he's like, yes, calm down. I was like, no, that's her finger. He's sewing on her finger. I got so excited. I was like, and he's like, he's literally sewing on her finger. I was like, you don't know how romantic that is.
It's a whole thing. And then my friend has to go and point out after, the whole internet pointed it out that as he's sewing on her finger, as he's pulling the threads make the heart. And I was like,
Chelsea,
what?
Chelsea loves that. She's dying on that hill right there.
And I was like, what? And she had to pull it up for me to show me. And I was like,
I on Twitter and I was like, oh shit.
Yes.
Like,
and that's the thing. 'Cause my friend said she saw it on Twitter. She thought it was Photoshop. So she like pulled up and had to look at herself. And so she found it. Then we're on call. So she pulled it up and like screen shared. And I was like, I already had never left that moment. And that little bit, I was like, that's what chained me to the floor. It said, get back down. You're never leaving.
But the cherry on top with that moment is he's literally taking the fall for her.
I know.
In the super duper mart. Like, you have X, Y, and Z. So it's like, you can't tell me this shit isn't lining up. Like, no, too much.
And then for me personally too, because I'm a big thing when it comes to when I write, music is like a big inspiration for me when I write.
Yeah.
Like majority of my stuff is always titled after like song lyrics that are very pertinent to like either the whole vibe of something or a specific moment. And when I was doing my rewatch last month, all of a sudden I was noticing the overlays of the songs during certain moments in the show. I'm like, you can't not tell, and just for everybody, like not even like shipper goggles off, just in general for the entire show, I'm just like, you can't do all that and then still just like not follow through on what you seem to be foreshadowing with these specific moments lined up with these specific lyrics.
Yep. And I feel like they've done such a good job with following through. Like, Chelsea and I were talking about like even the chicken fucker comes back.
Yes.
Like even the vault humor that we see in episode 1, it really pays off in, I think it's episode 7 when they go to vault 4 and they're like that release that they get released, like that's their punishment or whatever. And so it's like everything that they have set up, there has been that follow through. So I'm just like, okay, I'm 98% of me is putting that trust into them because they followed through, but because there's too many mirror moments, there's too many synchronicities, like for me to be like, you can't just fuck with me and tell me that this was an accident and that I'm the idiot, So,
and yet at the same time, I've also been burned so much in the past that I'm prepared to have the clown shoes tied on and walk the stage to get my as valedictorian from Clown U. But
okay, we haven't asked anyone this, but we've talked about this. What are either your number 1 ship that has burned you so bad or top 3? Because I want to know. Like,
yeah. Oh God.
And Chelsea, start thinking because I want answers from you too.
Oh God.
Now I'm putting all of you guys on the spot.
I mean, I think the biggest one that is always going to come to mind, even though like I got vindicated in a way last year with it, just because I mentioned it, Jurassic Park. Alan and Ellie in the first movie, they're a couple, it's the year of our Lord 2024, and people still want to be like, no, they weren't. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But Jurassic Park 3, you get to Jurassic Park 3, and like the first Jurassic Park ends, and it's very clear, like, all right, he's gotten over his fear of having kids. They have this whole moment of looking at each other where it's like, yeah, they're gonna start a family. You get to Jurassic Park 3, it opens up. There's Alan interacting with a little kid, clearly knows him. It's very, father son. Here comes Ellie with a baby on her hip, and it's this whole perfect moment. And it's like, oh my God, like little 9-year-old me was like, yes. And then all of a sudden, here comes this random dude that Ellie goes and kisses, and it's her husband. And I'm like, what do you mean they're not together? And then I find out a couple years, like years later, that only happened because the director of Jurassic Park 3 didn't think Sam Neill and Laura Dern looked like a convincing couple and broke
Excuse
them
me?
up. Yeah.
Like, I
So that's
beg
the
your
only
fucking
reason that
pardon?
happened, because the original Jurassic Park 3 script was supposed to have Alan and Ellie going through a little bit of a rough patch, and they were gonna like toy separation, and the whole events of the movie happen, and then they, reconcile and everything. That was the original script.
Did the husband get eaten in Jurassic Park 3?
No, he sadly stayed, but the vindication was Jurassic World Dominion. She is divorced from him, and her and Alan get back together, and it's great, but they've missed out 30 years of a life.
Right.
I feel like Chelsea and I talk about this a lot, is that like sometimes our ships either don't give it to us at all or don't do it so bad. Like I don't like that. Like there was no reason, all because the director thought he could play God and be like, oh, I don't care about the success of Jurassic Park 1. Like, who cares? Even though that completely rode on, the chemistry between the two actors and obviously Jeff Goldblum. But it's just like, really? So now we're going to create an issue when it's like the same thing happened with, I don't know. Are you familiar with Veronica Mars?
Yes.
So like how they fucking, and I don't care if it's a spoiler, happened like years ago, killed off Logan the last 5 minutes. I was like, the reason your show lasted this long was because shippers like me who shipped Logan and Veronica together gave you money and support. And then you're going to do I can't even rewatch that, like the Hulu version, even though it was such a good show up until the last 5 minutes. I can't even rewatch it because I know how it's going to end. And I'm just like, fuck you. And yeah, it's like, that's how you did dirty. Anyway, yeah, I get that.
I'm there because I watched it for the first time like when I was in film school, and my roommate had already watched it and was just like waiting for me to get to the ending. And I was like, I feel like I've wasted so much time watching this.
Well, and it's because the director was like, oh, well, we wanted her to like it was going to be like a noir and she wasn't going to have any relationships at all. And I'm like, no one is watching for the mysteries, buddy.
Yeah.
Like you can put in a mystery, make it good, but give me that and I'm not asking for romance to be like 50% of the episode. Just give me a couple of looks. Yeah. Give me the chemistry, like the looks between each other. Yeah. So, okay. So Jurassic Park. What was another one that burned you?
Oh,
besides Veronica Mars, obviously.
Yeah. Another one that burned me. I mean, I'm gonna go back. Indiana Jones. Having Indy and Marion from whatever at sometime after Raiders all the way up to Crystal Skull, like not actually be together and then miss out, and then you get the whole thing. I don't know who's all seen Dial of Destiny, but if you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm gesturing to. But
that's one of mine. We're on the same page with that. Like, excuse the fuck out of me. Like, there's no fucking way
exactly.
Work out, excuse me. Like, they are so fucking perfect for each other on every level. And like, no matter what Indy is going through in his personal life, and no matter what they have lost collectively, I feel like they would have been grown up enough to lean on each other because they've been through so much fucking shit together. And like, no, it's a lie. It is a fucking lie. I do not accept the premise. No,
I'm right there with you on that. Because both times I've seen them all in theaters, like through re-releases and like special stuff. And every time I watch Crystal Skull, I'm just like, have to like prepare myself for what I know is gonna get thrown. And then watching Dial Destiny with my grandma, just sitting there going, again.
Right. Yeah. Like, you're really gonna do me like this again. Like, you can't give that man a fucking shred of happiness in his life. Excuse me. Like,
but you know what? I go back to it every time. I come back and I can't say no. I'm like, okay, I'll take it.
Right. Yeah. But like, literally, you will never convince me that Indy and Marion aren't fucking perfect for each other. Like, I'm eventually going to end up writing an adventure, like action adventure romance that's like heavily
Ooh.
inspired by those two, but like what the fuck should have happened
It's a fix it. It's a
of
fix
them
it.
being
Yeah.
Yeah.
separated is not fucking it for me. I'm sorry. I don't fucking believe it. I feel like those two catching up after the whole incident in Last Crusade, like I just
Yeah.
I
Well,
can't.
and I
I
think
don't believe Willie Scott. I don't believe Ilsa. Like, yeah, you can fuck around and be a fuck boy. It's fine, whatever. But like, I don't believe that you end up with anybody other than Marion. I don't believe that you can commit to anybody other than her. And I don't believe you waste like 40 fucking years of your life without the one woman on this planet who is absolutely perfect for you. It does
Yeah.
not.
Well, and my thing too is like, if you're not gonna give us a consistent character that they are perfect with, don't give us anyone at all. Like
Exactly.
that's why, like with Jack Sparrow, I was so glad. Like as much as I like the ship of Jack and Lizzie, that would never have happened. But like at least they didn't put him with anyone else, because
Yeah.
I would have been so angry because no one is good enough for him. And I know how this is going to work out. I'm going to get attached to someone possibly. And then he's going to be with someone else, because it's very like James Bond. And it's like, just don't do that, because I just don't give me the romance if you're not going to follow through with it.
Exactly.
So that's my thing. But I haven't seen, don't kill me, I haven't seen any of the Indiana Joneses, except I think I saw Crystal Skull like in theaters a long time ago. But I need to do like a marathon.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
girl. Like literally.
My
Yeah.
husband has, so I've seen it vicariously through him. But
Lake and
No.
I, like, we argue about our favorite because mine is obviously Raiders. Because despite glaring plot holes, that movie is still fucking perfect, and I will fight anybody who says otherwise.
Yeah.
I don't care about the plot holes. The movie was perfect. Their chemistry was perfect. I fucking loved them. And then like Last Crusade, I love. But my husband's favorite is Temple of Doom, and I'm just sitting here like,
It's fun. It's a
it
fun movie
is
to
fun.
watch.
Very fun, but like Willie Scott as a concept and a character just drives me up the goddamn wall, because we had Marion. And Marion was perfect. And Willie is just like the absolute antithesis of everything that Marion is. And I struggle to believe that Indy is attracted to that.
okay, which movie was it where she gets pushed into like a truck and the truck explodes, but she survives?
Raiders.
Is that Marion who gets
Yeah.
pushed in the truck? Okay, I just want to know, because I think I've seen that scene, and I want to make sure I'm understanding who.
Yeah, that's my homegirl. I love her.
Yes.
Like,
No. But to quote my friend about Willie Scott, it's very clear that the screenwriter hates women. We did a rewatch recently, and when we do our rewatches, we get on video because she lives all the way up in Montana.
yeah,
Um,
I'm so
we'll
jealous. I loved Montana when I was there. Tell your friend I'm jealous.
she'll tell you come live up where she is, and you'll change your mind real quick. Because she lives on a one street town off the highway, about 2 hours from the nearest major city.
Nice. It's the snow that would kill it for me, though. Honestly,
It's the
like,
heat too. She's got there. She's dying up there with the heat.
oh, I bet. But I loved it when we were out there during the summer, because
Oh,
like
it's beautiful.
on the Alabama Gulf Coast, like right now, it is roughly 1,000,000,000% humidity and like 100+ degrees, and like I have my soup air swamp witch vibes going on. Out there was very different to me because it's so much less humid that like even though it was warm, we went in July, I was just like, oh, this is cool compared to home.
Yeah, I spent 2 weeks up there years ago. Me, her, and her dad road trip from Houston all the way up to Phillipsburg, Montana, where they live. And they own a restaurant.
Nice.
I scooped ice cream for 2 weeks, and then after the 2 weeks, the three of us drove from Phillipsburg, Montana, all the way down to Comic-Con, or all the way down to San Diego to go to for the first time go to Comic-Con down there for me and her. And then from there we drove to Vegas, where I flew back home to Houston at the time. But we have such a fond memory of those road trips because we only exclusively listened to the James Bond, the Best of Bond songs.
Nice.
So
I had that CD in high school and it was like on loop.
yeah, that's all we listened to. We drove her dad pretty crazy. But
Whatever.
it's what he expected. I mean, we like I said, we have known each other since we were 14. So it was like it is what it is.
Yep.
So what okay, so basically it sounds like what made you start shipping them was that moment, or when you were starting to like watch it, just even in episode 1 where they don't interact, were you like, oh shit, like I can already see stuff happening and I already know what's gonna happen here?
Yeah, because like I said, I was getting vibes from the trailer. And I'm also very much the walking definition of being bi, where if you throw two hot actors with chemistry at me, I am gonna want their characters, even if they don't interact, their characters are getting together in my mind. Um,
Literally me.
Yep.
but I got a vibe based off the trailers, and I was like, okay, but that's the trailers, like it, they may not actually ever interact. And in the first episode, I was like, okay. I was like, kind of starting to see it, but I was like, I need to wait. And then you just get to that moment in Philly, and from the moment she intervenes, and he just turns around, even because it's all the way it's framed, the cinematography matches and parallels and mirrors themselves, and their movements do as too. And it's just from that moment, I was like, I'm in trouble. I'm in danger.
No, it's like when with me, like I'm just like I just get in the trash can. I'm like, I'm happily jumping in.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put on my freaking like shipper goggles. I'm just gonna set myself on fire. I don't know if this is gonna work out for me. And at the time, I didn't know that this was like gonna be as big as it was, because usually my ships are all crack and
yeah.
people tell me, oh, you are a terrible person for wanting her to be with a ghoul.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily, it's actually so popular. And I'm
Yeah.
actually surprised. I was like, oh, thank God, because it's going to serve me with my fix to get me to season 2. But yeah, like I actually had that with, did you ever watch Daredevil, like the Netflix Daredevil? Or no?
I did not finish season 1. I'm not big on Marvel. I try, but can't get into it. But I know all about the vast different shifts that came out of those shows.
So like for me, it was Frank Castle and Karen Page. And
Okay.
like literally, I mean, I knew John Bernthal from The Walking Dead and Deborah from True Blood, but I just smacked my husband. I'm like, dude, when they get on screen, they are gonna have so much chemistry, because it took like 2 or 3 episodes before they actually met. And the second that they did, I was like, oh, I was fucking right. I knew it. I fucking knew it. And so it's just like I love that feeling when you get, especially like in a visual place like Hollywood, where they are literally showing us things. I'm sure it's so hard for them to find these actors with chemistry. And so like I always use like X-Men, right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
felt like Hugh Jackman had way more chemistry with oh my gosh, Anna Paquin than he
Yeah.
did with the girl who
Yes.
played what's her face? Jean Grey.
Yes.
And so I ship Rogan like so hard. People come at me and I'm fine with it, whatever. I don't give a shit. But I was like, no, dude, like, do you see how they look at each other? Like, I am sorry. I'm not sorry, but like, it's all about the eyes. And
It
I just,
is.
yeah. And so I was just like, the chemistry between them was so off the freaking charts. And, but yeah, I just think that what we have here with Fallout is so, they have all of it. Like, it's not like a Nancy Drew where they didn't have the chemistry, but they had the story, and then they had to
Yeah.
fuck up the story because of the chemistry and all of that stuff. Um, but I was just like, oh man, I really need them to like do you have any scenes that you want to see in season 2?
Oh boy. Oh boy. I got a lot of scenes, let me be honest. I got a lot of things I hope to see, if not season 2 later
Yeah,
on.
right, exactly.
Um, but some of the biggest ones is hey, I like I mentioned earlier, like I'm a like because I mean they've really driven this whole point with Cooper not really ever calling her Lucy.
Yeah.
It's all these, different nicknames. So that's falling right into like what I'm such a sucker for.
Yeah.
And I want a moment, whether it be, she gets hurt, he gets hurt, or they're having like some big intense conversation or something like that. And, he doesn't call her sweetheart. He doesn't call her sweetie. He doesn't call her Volty. He calls her Lucy. And it just like drives home like the seriousness of the moment, whatever that moment is. I need that. Like I would prefer it if like it's because she's in danger.
Yeah.
And he's like right there. But I want someone. I want someone to call her a ghoul fucker.
Yeah, right.
Like,
We
I
need that
just
scene.
I need that injected into me just already in here. But I want what I really hope for in season 2, if they're gonna go the route of, Cooper and Lucy ultimately maybe not being endgame, but getting together at some point, is my hope for season 2 is I don't want them to get together in season 2. I want season 2 to be very much about building and showing the changes of the relationship and the dynamics between them. And then towards the end, maybe kind of hinting at it, and kind of you see that ultimate change in them, and it's like, oh shit. And then you get season 3, and
No,
and
then the cliffhanger of season 2, it's like Barb comes and it's all like, I'm back, bitches. And then it's like we have to wait 2 years for 8 episodes. You're like, motherfucker.
Honestly. Listen, Barb can come in. She's fine. She's girl bossed her way so far that she's become the villain. But that's all it needs to be. Like I don't want any sort of reconciliation between her and Cooper.
Yeah.
I don't want them getting back together. I want him to get closure, but not if that's going to come at the cost of getting together, getting back with her, even if it's just for the sake of Janie. I don't want any of that. I get that out of here. I'm going to smack it. I'll kick Janie out of the picture. I don't care.
Let's kill off Janie to save our ship, guys.
No. I'm not going to kill her. I'm not saying that. Just, kind of boot her far away from Barb, so that way Cooper and Barb can dish it out, and then it's like not this whole, oh, but we got to stay together for our kid.
I would love if Janie and Lucy kind of became friends, and like Janie likes Lucy more than her own mom. Like,
yeah.
Not to talk shit on Barb,
yeah,
but like,
listen, I love
that.
Barb. Give me Barb
as
want
a villain,
the ultimate villain.
Yes,
I want to see her just coming in, not taking any shit, kicking ass, doing all this, hell on high heels, that whole thing.
Yes. I want her to be a bitch, and I want her to lean into being a bitch.
Own it.
Yes.
Own it.
Yes. I want
you're gonna do it, own it.
Exactly.
I want her to be completely unapologetic about it. Just like fucking lean into it so damn hard. And like, I want her to not regret the way she destroyed her, honestly, and just be like fucking fine with it, because she's like, I made the decisions I made and you don't have to like it. Fuck you. Like, I just want to be a bad bitch.
Well, and that's the other thing. Like, I'm like looking forward to in season 2, because I'm like 95% sure it's gonna happen. I want the flashbacks of the divorce and the fall of the marriage. I want to see just how bad it got, and also because I am my father's son, I'm a little bit of a gossip whore. I want to see how messy it got.
Yes, me too.
Well, and I think that in our society, especially as women, it's easier to have like a baddie, like let's say Jafar from Aladdin. Like he is all about it. He does not give a shit. He wants what he wants. He's like unapologetic about it, right? And I'm just like, why can't we have that with women? Like, why do we need, and I'm not saying don't have a redeeming quality to make her complex. I don't need her to be two-dimensional. Like, I want her to have complexity, but I don't want her to have that regret or that nurturing, like that softness that women are expected to have, because I think we get a lot of that in Lucy, and I don't want to necessarily see that. I want her to completely own her stuff. I want her to like you guys are saying, like, don't apologize for it. Lean in, see Cooper, and not feel bad whatsoever about what happened to him. And because I feel like if men get to have fun and be this like villain that we all love to hate, why can't we not have women who are the same way? And you know, I know that we have like, okay, the stepmom from Cinderella or Mother Gothel, but I feel like even those characters, we don't know so much about them that we can understand who they are. But I feel like with Barb, there is that opportunity to really, really build her up and just, gosh, like just get like stab Cooper in the heart like over and over again. And like Lucy is right there to pick up the pieces and, you know, just set all of, or have Barb like steal Lucy, put her in danger. And now Cooper, oh gosh, so much.
No.
I know. When I like trail off when I think of all of these good possibilities, like, oh God, I would love to see that. But anyway.
Right?
So.
Fanfic writers out there, just saying, plot bunnies everywhere. Plot bunnies everywhere.
I got too many already.
Well, and me and Chelsea have talked about, we want the same thing with Max, because Chelsea has this crack theory where Max is going to be the villain.
That's what I want. I think it'd be such a good setup where, again, you know, he could parallel Barb in a way, right? His intentions are good. He's in his mind doing the right thing, which is always the story of a great villain where, you know, they're, you know, cliche, they're the hero of their own story, but it's true. And I want that for Max. I want him to make these choices trying to do good, and it's just getting worse and worse. And
and it blows up in his face.
Oh yeah. And then on top of that, because like, so my younger brother is a big fan of the game, of the Fallout games.
Mm-hmm.
So I never actually I never played them until this year, but I grew up, I would watch him play it all the time. So I'm not crazy knowledgeable in the lore, but I know enough to where I know how messed up the Brotherhood of Steel is. And where Max's story leaves off in season 1 with all this, I can already picture like, yeah, he, you know, at the moment he wants out, he wants to find Lucy, wants to have that happy life, safe life. But, you know, now he's being hailed this hero and all this, and
which is what he wanted from the get-go. Yeah.
And no, so and I can't wait.
Well, I think also would play it so well. Like, I just want to see Aaron Moten be a bad bitch.
Absolutely.
That would be amazing.
Well,
I just so deep in the Maximus is going to turn out to be a villain theory, and then all these people who are trying to shove him as a moral example down our throats are going to look so fucking
Do they not realize he's like lying multiple times in every episode? They're
going the ostrich approach.
They're Lucying it right now.
Yeah.
They're pulling a Lucy. Yeah. No, so what I think is going to happen, or what I would love to see happen, is that Max comes after Lucy, because of course he's going to assume the ghoul kidnapped her, because she has no mental capacity to make decisions for herself. She's just a perpetual damsel in distress who constantly needs her help.
That's what some of these fans will have you believe anyways too.
Yeah. And I want him to get to them, and for Lucy to be like, no, I'm with him, not romantically, but I am choosing to go with him. And for Max to either like to basically make her choose, like, come with me where I can protect you and I can, you know, put the school down or whatever, or you are now going to either have a bounty on your head, or you are going to now, like, I have to come after you.
Yeah.
And she's going to choose Cooper, because I could only imagine how much that would mean to Cooper, because Max is that safe choice. He's literally the knight in shining armor. And the Brotherhood would protect Lucy and potentially even go after the dad, because the dad has their armor. But I really want, and I think that would be the catalyst for Max completely spiraling into his villain era, because he's risking so much for her to now be slapped in the face of everything. Like, that would just completely set him off, I think.
Yeah, and I would just love to see it. It would just, because I don't know, there's something about stories like Fallout where you have, you know, these interconnecting characters, all starting off on, you know, different parts of the morality scale, and then watching, you know, them either fall, become the villain, you know, prove everyone right, you know, that you know, prove themselves right, that, you know, they're not going to change, they're going to stick to what they know, and then, you know, or redeem themselves, or, you know, just the ups and downs of it all. Because like I also want to see Lucy get put in a situation where she might have to break some of her morals, she might have to, you know, cross those lines that she doesn't want to cross. And not necessarily saying like I want to see her cross them, but I want to see her in a situation to see what
She would
would
do.
happen if
Yeah.
she's given this choice.
Yes, absolutely. I have such high hopes, and I just really hope that they don't burn us like I've been burned so many times before. But also with my ships that I've been burned with, like I've just been burned by my own brain by like shit that I really wanted to happen but was never going to be a thing. Like Jackson Ripner and Lisa Reisert in Red Eye. I shipped them so fucking hard. I'm not sorry at all.
I mean,
I
it
love
could have happened if the writers knew what they had with that. I mean,
they are the start of my dark romance obsession. Literally, is like I would read fics about Lisa and Jackson, and I love it. And then like also like I kind of shipped like Sydney with both Billy and Stu, and like that's the throuple I wanted to see in the world. Like it was never gonna happen. Although I did get like a taste of what that could have been like with reading Slasher Pass by Tyler Page. I'm really enjoying that and like loving, like honestly loving every second of it because I love slasher flicks. I love psychological thrillers, and I just like I just ship it. I ship it. I'm not sorry. I will not apologize. I will not take notes. I'm not going to argue with anybody. Ship it super hard. And like, I feel like mainstream media is never going to go there for a lot of the ships that I wanted. Like, J.K. Rowling was never going to put Draco and Hermione together, but I just like.
or Snape and Hermione. Whoa.
But in the books, Draco was so intelligent, and that's something that they really didn't bring
Yeah.
up that bothers my husband so much, is that Draco was smart too.
Yeah.
He was absolutely intelligent, and I feel like there's like all the fics that I used to read and some of the role playing I used to do on the Harry Potter Dialogue Center way back in the day, like focused on that, like the intellectual rivalry between those two and like setting up an excellent enemies to lovers arc, and I just wanted it so bad and it was never gonna fucking happen, and I just got burned by my own brain.
Well, because we all know that there's no way in hell Hermione could stand like 30 years of marriage to Ron. And that's not talking shit on Ron. I just don't think that she
together.
I think that okay, it's like that first love that you think is perfect for you, and then you're like, oh no, I'd rather have my professor. But no, that's just my ship. But no, but it's like, even if we go, because Draco and Hermione makes more sense. Harry and Hermione makes more sense to me than Ron.
That's my mom's ship. My mom ships Harry and Hermione so hard, and she just like never believed Hermione and Ron, like not even for a second.
Well, I don't believe it from an intellectual standpoint, based on who J.K. Rowling showed Hermione as a character. There is no way. I mean, she could be friends with him, yes, but as a husband,
she's not going to marry a man who has the emotional range of a teaspoon.
But who can't keep up with her intellectually. Like both Snape, Draco, and even Harry, because Harry was also really smart. Like those three would have at least intrigued her and kept her interest during whatever marriage.
Somebody to challenge her.
Yeah.
And push her, and like that's why
not insult her. Like Ron pushed her by like insulting her, and that is not what that's not the challenge that someone like Hermione Granger needed.
No, yeah, like because I mean, right, child of the 90s over here, big Harry Potter fan, like love the books, love the movies, all that good stuff. And like looking back on now, like absolutely, like I you know, I do a read through, like reread them every couple years, and I sit there because little kid me, like little me, even to high school, Ron and Hermione, I love them. I like still to this day, I love them because I do love the idea of like the, you know, the
first love working out,
the first love working out, but also like, you know, the, you know, quote unquote goofy kid kind of getting with someone who is out of
his league.
Of his league. So I've
Yeah.
always loved that, like that, but absolutely, like, but when I look back, now as, a grown up, I'm like, probably not gonna happen. But then they've stopped becoming like my main ship, like when the sixth book came out, because I'm gonna tell you, I will get so much smoke for it. I know I will, but I take all that smoke. I absolutely love Tonks and Lupin together. I ate it up.
Why would anybody not, because of the age gap?
The
Is that
age
why?
gap, but everybody is, but also because everyone just really ship still Lupin and Sirius.
Oh yeah, I don't
But
know. I like Tonks and Lupin. I love
I
the
ate
age
it up.
gap.
I love the age gap. I love the angst that was the beginning of the relationship, because I am at my heart an angst writer.
Mhm.
So I loved it all. I even love the fact that, granted, yes, they died, but they kind of got a little bit of a happy ending, and with
Right.
getting married and having a kid, and I loved it all. I was like, I yes.
I hope no one comes for you, because I used to ship Sirius and Hermione because I'm a big fan of the age gap. Like that is one of my like kinks, but I just couldn't do it with like I just feel like Snape, again, it's that whole like he doesn't look like who she should be with,
Mhm.
but he's intellectual, and I feel like if anyone would appreciate, I feel like potentially she reminds him of Lily, because Lily was
Yeah.
smart and fiery and was part of that group. And I think that that's, I don't want to dissect Snape because whatever. This is we're talking Ghoulsy, but it's just like I love that, and that's one of the reasons why I love the Ghoul and Lucy, is because there is that huge age gap, and
Yeah.
that experience versus the inexperienced, and I just love watching the two characters slowly change because of each other, and that's like such a grumpy sunshine like thing, and yeah, so I don't know. The ship that wrecked me to this day that I'm still like really pissed. Well, I have so many, but the one that stands out is Beth and Daryl from The Walking Dead.
See, I
Um
never watched The Walking Dead.
so it was an age gap thing. I know that there's a huge Bethel community, but the Carol and Daryl shippers are like so much bigger. But I just loved them. And then the episode I watched on my 25th birthday, like she dies, and so I was like the clown like 3 years later, like, no,
Oh,
she's coming back. She's coming back. Like, here are all the clues that she is coming back. Like I did like the whole breakdown that we see on Tumblr, like that we're doing with Lucy and the Ghoul, and then it just never happened. And then I just stopped watching it. I was like, I fucking clowned too much. I had to take
oh
off my
no.
makeup. It was bad.
No.
I
See,
was
and I'm prepared for that with, with Ghoulsy, but
I
at the
can't
same
be
time,
prepared. There's too much there. There's
it
too
is.
much there.
But so at the same time, I have one story of a huge shipping W that I am hoping is what's going to happen with this. So back when Bates Motel was airing, you get, in case no one else watched it, you have, it's Norman Bates, Norma Bates, a whole prequel leading up to Psycho.
Right.
And they introduced this new character of his half brother, Dylan. Now, played by an actor I was absolutely in love with. So of course I was like, oh yeah, gonna be one of my favorite characters. So he shows up in the second episode, and you got Olivia Cook's character Emma, and she knocks on the door. She's there to see Norman, because the whole first season she kind of got this crush on him. She kind of wants him. I kind of shipped her and Norman together. Dylan opens the door. They say two lines to each other, and I go to my best friend. I was like, I ship it. And she's like, they didn't say anything. I said, I don't care. I ship it. And that was it. That's the only interaction they had all season. And then you get to season 2, and they had a little bit more of interaction just because kind of like the storylines were kind of converging. And then more and more people started shipping them. It was still a very tiny community, but very vocal on Tumblr, and the producers were also on Tumblr. So they were seeing all of it. Season 3 comes around, and it's starting to look like that. And they're teasing this romance with them, and they eventually do get together. They get a happy ending. They get married. They have a kid. They get the hell out of there. They survive everything. And the producers were like, like the showrunners were like, we absolutely saw these very small people saying like there's chemistry between these characters, and they went and they analyzed all the scenes they had in season 2 and was like, you guys are right. And so they rewrote their stories to still organically feel like that was always the direction that those characters were supposed to be going.
I love that. I love that so much because like I feel like writers in Hollywood, they play God a lot. And so they're like, no, you need to do what I told, like this is the canon ship. And it's like the fact, you know what reminded me of that is I don't know if you ever watched Community, but like
off and on.
so Jeff and Britta were supposed to be together, and you could tell that by the first episode. But Jeff, or Joel McHale's character, had way more chemistry with Annie. But again, it's that age gap thing. So they weren't gonna do it. But I think at Comic-Con, like there was this, they actually called out one of the Tumblrs. I think it was like, fuck yeah, Jeff and Annie or whatever. And it's like, so people saw like the edits that they did. And it was just like, my thing is like, and this brings up an interesting point about fan service and where is the line. And my thing is like, as long as it serves the story, you know, because I don't want my ship handed to me in the worst kind of way. As long as it serves the story, give the fans what they want. And the fact that the Bates Motel people, like, not only were open to hearing that the actors had chemistry and let's rewrite it that way, I was that makes me so happy, because it's like you never hear stuff like that, you know.
So I'm kind of hoping, because again, me and my best friend, we talk about that because that was another one that we had. So we're like, that's our one big win. And I was like, we're overdue. We are like 10 years, like a little bit over a decade since that happened. We are overdue. Let it happen with this.
Well, and I'm sure that they see all of the stuff too, because I remember Amazon dropping all 8 episodes thinking it's not gonna be bad, but it's also not gonna be this huge success that it was. And I think Walton Goggins over here is just feeding our shipper sensibilities too, coming out saying, no, it's not father-daughter. It's not father. I was like, thank you.
Bless
sir.
that man every time he opens his mouth.
Yes.
I'm like, just keep it coming. I want to sit down. I want to pick his brain specifically about
literally me. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, how deeply his thought about Cooper. I'm like, I want it all.
Did you watch Justified?
I am starting it right now. I just started it because my dad watched it when it was on. I kind of watched it with him off and on. And I liked it. Then I ended up going away for college and didn't have cable, so
okay, tell me okay, because I have a ship that involves Walton Goggins. It's okay, I'm just gonna be honest. It's not Raylan and Boyd. I ship Boyd and Ava. And I'm just curious, like when you get more into the episodes that show that, just like tell me what you think of it, because I'm in season 6. I'm not gonna say anything because I don't want to spoil it for you, but anyway. So yeah, so Walton Goggins is just like amazing. And I think, you know what? I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not talking for him or anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if he shipped like the Ghoul and Lucy too. Like, I just don't think he can say it because it might come out a certain way. Like, oh, this old guy is like creeping on this. I'm like, first of all, she's in her mid-20s. So let's not fucking, Chelsea, what's the word I can never pronounce?
I can't pronounce that word either. So I'm right there with you.
So I'm just like, but I think based on some of his interviews, I honestly feel like I think that he would want them together.
Yeah.
So
it definitely that is the impression that is given.
Yeah. What do you think, Chelsea?
I'm just sitting here like praying for the day after this show is over when Walton Goggins can come back and admit that yes, I did ship them all along. Like, I need that in my life, first of all.
Well, and he says he has a collaborative relationship with the writers, and so that also gives me hope, because like if I ever met him, that's something I would ask. Because I would be like, because he cares so much about his characters, like he's not, you know, like I would be like, okay, you know, would, you know, in terms of ownership and character and responsibility, like do you feel like could you go to your writers on Justified or all these other shows if you felt like they were doing your character a disservice? Because, like you can tell like he cares about his characters and how they're represented. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if he specifically requested that he had such a collaborative relationship with the character, with the writers, because I think that because he has so much of himself in his characters that if they did him dirty, he would hopefully like, and I don't know anything about Hollywood to be like, when it comes between the actor and the writers, like who has more of the power, I don't know. I'm sure it's a contract thing that they would have to just say the lines or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could see, like, if you ever watched Game of Thrones, like you could tell the actress who played fucking Dany,
Yeah.
she was not happy and she didn't hide that,
yeah.
Plus
the press tour leading up to that last season.
Nobody liked it. Did you see the reading where Jon Snow is like reading who killed I thought his face is so precious.
Take me back to those days. I had fun with Game of Thrones
I'm
then.
so old though. Like that entire 8th season, my old ass, I couldn't see a damn thing. I need them to reshoot it where I can fucking see what is going on the screen, please and thank you.
Okay,
Yeah,
so like from a story perspective, it was awful.
Yeah.
But I will say that I shipped Sansa and Tyrion. So the last moment that I got with them, I was relatively happy, even though it should have been a full-on makeout scene. Let's go get married. You can be my king consort in the north. That's what should have happened. But I just, that whole series, it was such a good, and then it's just like True Blood. It was so good, and then Sookie gets with the rando? Like, really? I
didn't finish. I never finished it.
Don't. I can't rewatch it. I cannot rewatch it. I'm like, you have fucking Eric? Are you kidding? Anyway, I'm just gonna stop.
Right. I feel it because the chemistry is so there with Eric, and like it just like pissed on that fire and put it out.
Because she has to end up with a human. I'm like, bitch, no, she doesn't. This is True Blood. Like, why? I don't need your morality.
That's how it ended.
No, it's some rando. You don't even see his face. They're at a picnic together, like a picnic table or whatever.
Gotta love that.
No, you don't gotta love that. Let me tell you that. So anyway, but yeah, I think that's the thing. Like when I feel like every writer we've talked to has the same thing from a story perspective. All of these little like mirroring it, like it has to make sense, and so that is what we're hoping for.
Yeah, even like I said, even if they don't even if it's not Endgame,
right? But don't Chelsea and ours, like, we don't want Cooper, like you said, to get back with Barb or to her to go with Max or Cooper martyring himself.
I refuse. I will unsubscribe so fast.
Yeah, because I'm like, no, Cooper can have a little bit of his humanity back, but not all of it. He has to stay the ghoul.
Yeah, I'm tired of, when it comes to characters like that, like, these amoral type characters. I'm tired of like the only redemption arc ultimately is always leading to death.
Yeah, and that's the only way you earn back that humanity.
I was over it when they brought back Star Wars and they killed Han. I mean, granted, it wasn't a redemptive arc, but I'm tired that the fact that, you're bringing in, when it comes to like established stuff, you bring in these legacy characters just to kill them. For what? It doesn't add to the story.
No,
right?
But that's the whole thing.
Done with the entire franchise. When you kill Han Solo, the man I've been simping for since I was in diapers, like,
yeah.
I'm done. I'm finished. It's over for me. I am not coming back. Like, you kill the person that I love the most in this entire fucking lore and fandom, and I'm gone. Bye. Unsubscribed so fucking fast. Like, done.
Well, done. I like I don't anymore because I did rewatch it recently. I used to like the new trilogy. I don't now that I've rewatched it with some time as between, but that's a whole different conversation. But I remember with The Force Awakens, because I'm a big Star Wars nerd. I mean, I read the expanded universe in high school. Like, that's how big of a nerd. Middle school, high school me, I was reading these, like, books from the 80s and 90s.
Who did you ship in The Force Awakens? No,
I
no,
don't have
no.
a ship. I don't have a ship in the new one. I
Okay,
don't.
when I watched it, this was me getting those little vibes of like Frank Castle and Karen Page again. I
Mhm.
wanted Poe and Ray to get together. Like
Interesting.
because the actors had so much chemistry when they
Yeah.
were doing their press tour, and they got and if you look at it, okay, again, if we're mirroring the original trilogy, you
Mhm.
had those three,
Yeah.
and you had Poe being essentially the Han character, um Ray being like the Luke character, and gosh, Finn being the Leia character. And I'm just like, how is it that Poe and Ray haven't had any screen time in 2 movies, and this is
Yeah.
like our like trio or whatever? That didn't make
Th-
any sense.
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't have a ship with the new trilogy. I mean, I didn't like I mean I liked the characters. I didn't
Yeah,
care enough about them to really want
exactly.
that. But what made me so mad about The Force Awakens specifically is that they modernized, I guess, redid, I don't know how, whatever word you want to use, one of my favorite and most hated storylines from the book, from like the expanded universe, which saw Han and Leia being together. They had twins. They had 3 kids together. A bunch of shit happens that ends in Chewie's death, and one of the kids is blamed for it. Anakin, yeah, the youngest one, gets blamed for it. And then the twins, out of the twins, you have Jason and Jaina. Jason ends up becoming a Sith, and because of all this family drama, Han becomes an alcoholic and just leaves. He just leaves Leia. He dips. He says bye. And then by the time he shows back up, it's just in time for not just their youngest son Anakin to die, but their oldest Jason to die as well.
That's
And
so depressing.
I loved it for like the moments it had, but I hated it. And that's kind of how I viewed Force Awakens when, revealed, Kylo Ren is Ben Solo, Han and Leia aren't even together anymore because of kind of like the path he took. And I was just like, I hated it then. Ultimately, I hate seeing it now, and especially because it led to Han's death.
Yeah.
I have a
Well,
confession to make. Like, my inner emo kid, who is very loud and alive, wanted to be a Raylo shipper, and then the way the writers wrote it, I just couldn't.
It's just a mess.
yeah, I think it's a mess, and I feel bad because again, it's almost that redemption arc of self-sacrifice, and it's like,
Yeah,
first of all, you didn't earn that. You killed Han
exactly.
Solo, like
Yeah,
fuck you.
I,
um
no redeeming in my mind.
yeah, and so but anyway, yeah, so I'm just like, I hope that it doesn't turn out like Cooper can only earn his humanity back by making that sacrifice, or like you said, where he does the right thing and goes with Barb in order to just be a family with Janie. And it's like, I don't want that anymore. Like, those are not the same values that I
Yeah.
feel like we as a society have. And if you're going to utilize those, then we're living in a completely different world, because it's like, I want the baddies to be the baddies and to love being the baddies. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want Cooper to change. Like, I don't want him to like, I don't want him to like want to go back to that past,
Yeah.
Like, I want him to sort of be happy with that found family aspect of him, Lucy, and CX404.
Yeah.
And if Janie is alive and she's around, I'm fine with her being part of that. But I don't want, you know, I don't want Cooper to be put in a position of, or I would love to see him being put in a position between Barb and Lucy, and ultimately choosing Lucy, because if he
Yeah.
chose Barb, I would be done. I would be
I,
like, no.
it would make, in my mind, his past, like, his whole past is supposed to be mirroring and paralleling, Lucy's story right
Right.
now. It would just make it pointless and worthless. And it's like, what was the whole point then? Like, if you're just gonna end up back with her, what
Yeah.
was the point of, you know, spying on her, finding all this out? I'm imagining threatening, revealing Voltec's, motives and to the public, and that's, I'm again, right, spitballing. That's what's going to lead to the divorce. But what would be the point of all if you're just going to, once you find her, get back together with her?
Right. So like
Right.
my thing is, if I'm not getting the romance that I want, then Cooper, Lucy, and CX404 like literally walk off into the sunset together, and they're just going on like wasteland adventures. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be more than that romantically, but
Exactly.
don't do anything else that's going to shift that dynamic in my
Right.
mind.
Well, it's my thing is, can we just please have and enjoy anti-heroes and morally gray characters, and we don't fucking have to fix them, like they're fine exactly like
Yes.
Yeah.
we enjoy them as morally gray. We enjoy them as anti-heroes. And yes, Cooper can get back a little bit of his humanity, but like I like him like he is, and I feel
But
like
only through Lucy.
kind
Like
of yeah.
he gets the humanity back around Lucy. Like if she bats her eyelashes and says, please don't kill this person, let's talk it
Yeah.
out, he will not do it. But only because she asked, not because he's changed his beliefs in any way, only because she's saying it. But if he's not with Lucy, he's gonna kill first and ask
Oh,
questions. Like that's
absolutely.
what I want, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I just don't want them to change him. I don't want them to make him soft. Like I like him like he is, and like don't ruin that.
Right.
Even for my ship, even like in the service of my ship, do not do that, because I
Yeah.
don't serve to me that way.
That way. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Well, and I feel like that's what's going on with House of Dragon right now. Do you watch House of Dragon, Anthony?
I have not, but I might as well be because the amount of how many people are watching it on Twitter, and I mean,
Well, so like I was a big Damon and Rhaenyra shipper, and right now it's not a crack ship, which I'm happy about. But
Yeah.
like the way that Damon is, so what's interesting about House of Dragon is the writers came out after like episode 8 or something. After he's okay, well, I won't say what he did necessarily. Well, I don't care. Fuck it. So some guy calls Rhaenyra a whore and he slices him
I
in
know all
half.
about that.
Okay,
Yeah.
you know that. Okay.
Listen, my best friend ships them, so
Yeah.
I know all this.
So like the writers came out and they're like, why is he your internet boyfriend? He's bad. Like he's a bad brother and a bad uncle and a bad family. And I'm like, no. You wrote him this way, number one. Number two, his redeeming quality is that he loves his family and he would do anything for his family. And so right now, like season 2, they've only had one scene together and we've already passed the 5-episode mark, and he's basically sitting around feeling sorry for himself or guilty after like, okay, yeah, did a 3-year-old get murdered? Yes. Was it because of Damon? I mean, he basically said a son for a son. It should have been Aemond, but you know, whatever. I want to see Damon be like, I don't give a shit. I was doing that for my woman. I was doing that for her, you know, reign. And now he's like feeling guilty because Rhaenyra got mad at him. And I'm like, okay, guys, like, can we just have like a ride or die, Bonnie and Clyde? Like, let's just not feel guilt. Like, I don't want that guilt. I don't want that to be like, oh, Rhaenyra, like now all of a sudden they've been married for so long already. Now all of a sudden he's like questioning, like he's now like jealous that she's gonna get the throne or whatever, and now he wants to be called king and he wants to be called all of this stuff. And I'm just like, you had like 10 plus years to reconcile this, and you're only starting to get mad at her for her inheritance now. Like it didn't make any sense whatsoever to me. Rhaenyra's arc kind of sucks in terms of just the writing, because it's like, and I get part of it, she's being passive aggressive, but I'm like, she said something really dumb in this last episode of like, if I have to like, I don't know what specific, but basically she's like, if I have to lean on my husband for support, then what does that make me as a queen, kind of thing. And I'm like, a wife? Like, why can't we turn to our like loved ones for support? You know, like, why do you feel like you have to posit that this woman has to take everything on her own? I just want it to be like, give me my romance.
Make each other more badass. And why
Yeah.
can that mutual support not be the most badass thing about them as a couple? Is that they will be ride or dies for each other. Like that's what I want to see.
Well, and that's how Damon was in season 1, where he was like, no, that's my girl. She's going to be queen. Like, I'm going to do all of this for her. And now all of a sudden it's kind of like this change. And I'm just like, oh, this is like, so like, again, it's that character motivation. It's like, make it make sense. And Damon was such like,
things.
Yeah, well, and
to like him.
Exactly. And I'm just like, Damon was such like a morally gray except for Rhaenyra. He was gonna burn the world down for her, and now all of a sudden he's like some pussy sitting in his room, like scared of his like nightmares. And I'm just like, where is my alpha hole that I fell in love with? Like, this is why I love Damon. Like, all of those like memes of like, okay, gonna set my morals aside tonight to see what war crimes Damon is gonna be doing. Like, I'm just like, and that's, I don't want to see that with Cooper Howard, even if it is for Lucy. I want the new message, like that new positive, like that new message of just saying you're allowed to be morally gray. You don't have, like you said, Chelsea, you don't have to fix yourself. You can be accepted exactly for who you are right now. And I feel like that message, especially today, I feel like is perfect. We need more of those messages. Not you have to change in order to get this acceptance. You have to die in order to earn anything. Like, that's just,
you have to be morally perfect to deserve love. Like, no, I reject that premise on so many levels. Like, I want to see a morally gray anti-hero get everything he deserves, in the sense that, like, he gets the love that he deserves, he gets the life that he deserves, he gets to ride off into the sunset with this baddie at his side. Like, I just want them to not screw a morally gray, complex anti-hero for once. Just for once.
Yeah, like I don't know. I think that is my biggest fear going forward, is that they are going to, again, regardless if it's going to end in like a martyrism or whatever, they're absolutely going to completely change Cooper. And it's just like,
well, that's what you have to ask him when you meet him next month.
oh, well, see, here's the thing, because he's also doing a panel. So he's doing a panel. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do, I mean, I say decide. I know I'm not going to do a photo op as much as I would love to.
Why? Why wouldn't you?
I'm too awkward, but I want to do the autograph because, like, so the autograph's on the table. But, like, I'm gonna be honest, if I have the money, I'll probably do both. But
just do both. If you can, okay, without being weird, like, never mind. I'm not gonna finish that. You get what I'm saying?
I know where you're going.
Yeah, like get in on that. Like, why not? Like, and I'm sure he'd be charmed. Like, I feel like he's such a nice guy. And like, you could ask, like, you don't tell me the ending or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, they're not gonna change. Like, you could just be like, my biggest fear is this, and see what his take on it. Because I feel like he would be the same way. You know what I mean?
And like, so what the funny thing about that though is, so my family, we have been fans of him forever. Like, so he's been on me, my brother, my parents' radar for a long time.
Loved him since I knew him.
But my parents, when I told them, my mom was like, "Well, maybe the three of us can go." And I was like, okay, it's like just to the convention. She's like, well, to the convention and to that panel, because my parents were like, because we'd like to see him too. And I was like,
what panel is it for?
It's just him. And there's no information. It is just him.
Sign the fuck up for that panel.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
Can we just take a minute to appreciate the Walton Goggins renaissance that is going on right now? Because that man is so dedicated to his craft.
I know.
He's such an excellent actor, and I feel like this has been such a long time coming for him, and I love it. I'm so here for it. I'm here to see it. I just think it is absolutely fantastic.
You know what I love? I love that everyone's thirsting on him, and he loves that everyone is thirsting on him. Like, he
knows it too.
I know that he will get his wife to take pictures for us to thirst over on Instagram. Like, that is peak amazing.
Insane. He's insane. It's insanity in that head, and I love it. But what I'm waiting for with this whole renaissance, if it happens, I'm waiting for the newer people, right, who are into him now, to discover predators just for his weird, freaky little character in that movie.
That was so excellent. And can we just appreciate how much Walton Goggins can like embrace the freak in a character? I love Lee Russell so fucking hard. It's not even funny.
That's the picture I'm hoping that's going to be an option for the autograph, by the way. I want a signed Lee Russell. Like, yes, that's my boy.
Okay, wait, because I am a new person. I am a new person coming into this. Although I will say, I've heard of him, and I always knew he was like a good actor. I just didn't become obsessed until now. And
Yeah.
so Lee Russell is from which one?
Vice Principals.
Oh my
Watch-
gosh, that's Lee. Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. I love him. His freaking the way he walks and just like the hair or whatever. Oh my
and, like
gosh.
his ongoing war with Micha
Oh
and
my god, I love it.
with the brass knuckles and look at this, Micha.
Yeah.
I
Oh
love
my
everything
gosh,
about Lee
yes.
Russell. That is my emotional support maniac. I will rewatch Vice Principals. I don't care how many times. I fucking love it. I loved Lee Russell and Neil Gamby.
Oh yeah.
Both characters are so fucking excellent. I love the way the show ended. Like, I just fucking love it.
I have this headcanon for Vice Principals that that Walton Goggins chose his wardrobe. Like every outfit he like picked himself. Like I wouldn't be surprised. Some of those outfits.
I have a shirt. I bought it years ago. Like years ago. And I've never found the occasion to wear it, but it's like button up, right? It's a nice shirt. It cost me a pretty penny for it too. It's like the most expensive shirt I own. But when I was rewatching Vice Principals, all of a sudden, because I watched like the first 4 episodes before they aired, because the movie theater I bartended at was doing like a special 4 episode screening. I didn't have
Oh, that's
HBO,
cool.
so I never could finish it. So I just like recently watched it for the first time because I remembered it, and I was like, oh yeah, I never actually finished this show. But I'm watching it, and all of a sudden, this nice $80 shirt I have, I'm like, this is a shirt Lee Russell would wear. This is a loud, obnoxious shirt, and I am now trying to find any reason to wear it, and I cannot find it.
Well, when you
that panel first,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I bought it years ago, and we've gained a little bit of weight since then, so I can shed it. But yeah, when I introduced my parents to that show, I got them to watch it. So
that's awesome.
I want my mom to watch that show so badly because my mom was an English teacher for 35 years. Like the English teacher that they frame in the show for selling textbooks on the side, that's my mom. Okay, like just headcanon for you. And I want her to watch it so bad, but she and my dad are like a little bit touchy and uptight language and things like that. And I'm like, I know they're not gonna watch it, but as a person who had a mom and an aunt and an uncle all in a school system, the behind the scenes teacher administration drama in that show is so on point, and like the cattiness, it's so on point. I loved it. I loved that show.
It's so funny because like my parents are younger, on the younger side. Like I'm the oldest, and my
dad is 70.
My parents are turning 53 in like the next 2 months, so I got young parents. But so I got them to watch that, and I remember my mom was watching it, and the way she said Lee Russell and Neil Gamby are is how her and some of her coworkers talk to each other, and they're best friends. That's how they talk to each other. That's also just how my entire family talks to each other. You know, me, my brother, my parents. That's all 3 of us, or all 4 of us. But then my parents and my brother from day one were watching The Righteous Gemstones. They tried to get me to watch it, and I couldn't.
Been started on Righteous Gemstones too. I
couldn't get into it at first, but to be fair, I didn't give the first episode a fair chance because I was like working Universal, so I was working Horror Nights. It was midnight. I was on break. Everyone's talking to me. I'm just overwhelmed. I couldn't focus, so I said, "This isn't funny. I'm not watching it." Finally, went back now and rewatched it, and I was like, I am about to eat so much crow when I tell my family this show is hilarious.
Yes, it's so excellent, and I love it so hard.
My dad loves Uncle Baby Billy. That's his favorite character in the entire world, and understandable.
Yes, I just hope that Walton like understands just how much people see how dedicated he is to his craft as an actor, and like how dedicated he is to his characters and like doing his job, but in a way that comes from his heart. And I just need him to know that. Like, I don't know that he will ever come across this podcast, but like on the chance that he does, I need Walton Goggins to know that we see.
I mean, so much so because I'm doing this whole kick because I stream on Twitch, so I'm going through streaming the Fallout games for the first time, and then there is a horror game that he did voice acting for. I 100% am planning to stream that. I've heard terrible things about this game, but
Worth it.
I've done worse. I mean, I watched the god awful Major League movie that he's in for like all of 10 minutes, and I spent money to rent that, and that's $4 I'll never get back. But what can you do?
It's still better than the second Major League, though. Like, I love the first Major League movie and
I've
the
never seen any of them.
Is that the
one and
Charlie
only.
Sheen one?
movies. Yes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know he's in one of them.
I watched that and I didn't even realize he was in it. It's so disappointing. Anyway,
Because me and my friend just watched that a couple weeks ago because everyone was talking about it, and then like the way they build up his character, we're like, okay, so like his character is actually gonna be a decent amount of time in this movie. No.
well, that's like Michael Keaton in Beetlejuice. He was
Yeah.
only in the movie for like 15 minutes. I was like, what the fuck? Why am I?
Yeah. I mean, that's Anthony Hopkins too, as Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lamb. He's only got 8 minutes of screen time.
Right.
I don't understand that. Give me more of what I came here to see.
Right. I'm here for specific reasons. You should have anticipated that.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
But any final questions, Chelsea?
No, but I do want to share some of my favorite lines.
Oh
from the
yes.
because we have rabbited so hard. But my absolute favorite line is that if you haven't picked up what I've put down, his voice was low and Lucy felt her breath catch in her throat at the way his gaze briefly dropped to her lips. Then that ain't my problem, Vaulty. You might want to work on it. Like, that was so good. Like, are you fucking kidding me? That was excellent.
I blacked out writing that. I don't remember writing it. I just wrote it, and then next thing I knew, I was like, I don't know what happened.
It was so good. I loved it. And then I love the moment where where she's pouting in the bed, pretending to be asleep, not talking to him. And like, I'm kind of judging myself because I may have done this on some occasions and like, just like refusing to talk to him and pouting and like all of this crap and pretending to be asleep. And then he pretends to get up and leave the room and like slams the door so that she thinks that he left. And then she turns around and he's still there and like, in front of the door, and I just like that moment was so fucking good. I loved it, and I also felt called out about the power of refusing to talk.
No,
My- No, go ahead. No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say that moment specifically with the fake out of leaving. I wrote that for me because I thought this would just be funny. I was like, I don't even care if people are gonna think that's in character or anything. I was like, this makes me laugh like when I thought of it. So I was like, I'm just gonna put it in. It's just for me.
I squealed. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I squealed. It was so cool.
The amount of comments that came in with everyone specifically going, this moment, this right here, I was like, I didn't know that was going to be such a big hit. I was like, this was just supposed to be a silly little ha-ha. But
You write things that are for us, like you lean into your authenticity and what really brings you joy. That's what hits with your audience too.
yeah.
And that, like, you know, that moment might have felt like it was just for you, but it was really for you and everyone out there like you who is your audience.
Yeah. So mine was, I know better than to try and tell a lady what to do when she's in a mood. And you, sweetheart, are clearly in a mood. I ain't looking to have that fury turned on me for pointing something out. And then she's like, you're not as charming as you think you are. Like, I love that because like Chelsea has said, I may have been in a mood a few times, and like my husband may have not helped the situation, but like sometimes we want them to like piss us off so we can go off, and sometimes he doesn't, and it's almost like you get even more mad that they're not doing anything
to not poke the bear. And I'm
Yeah.
like, fight me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that particular you can thank my parents for, because the amount of times my dad has told my mom that.
I think it's so in character for him to be like, you're in a mood again, like, and her to be so annoyed. Like, I think I picture Lucy, like, her anger towards Cooper is because he's right about everything.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think like
100%.
back in episode 5, like after she breaks away from Cooper, is her completely trying to fight against everything Cooper says. And this is why she kind of puts on the rose-colored glasses when it comes to Max, because she does not want him to be right about everything. And then her lesson is going to be like, oh, fuck, you know, he's right about everything. But then he starts being right about her, about like her being in a mood or her being whatever. And I just, she's so annoyed with it. Like, just stop being right for once.
And like, I always, like, I have a love-hate relationship for when my husband calls me out, because the man is never fucking wrong, and I hate that. Like, why do you have to be right all the time, first of all? And then second of all, like, he just sees me on a level that, like, is almost molecular, and like, I don't even see me that well sometimes. I'll be like, the fuck you talking about, a bad mood? And then I like have to stop and think, and like, no, he's fucking right again, like he always is. And just being seen on that deep of a level, I think, is going to A, scare the shit out of Lucy, and B, she's also going to love it. But
because no one's seen her for who she is before.
Yeah.
But yeah, I 100% agree with what you have to say, Chelsea. And poor Lake. He's just right about everything that pisses Chelsea off.
He's fucking amazing and wonderful, even when he drives me up the wall, and even though he's like always fucking right about everything and will like call shit. And like, I'm just gonna tell you guys this now, like, this, I suckered him into watching Bridgerton with me by like dangling the "who is Lady Whistledown" carrot. And I have never been so full of rage in my life, because I think like by the end of episode 1 or beginning of episode 2, he looks over at me and like, just, you know, if you haven't watched Bridgerton yet, people, plug your fucking ears. He looks over at me and goes, "It's Penelope." And I was like, how the fuck did you figure that out that fast? And like, he just like, he looks at things in a way that is so different from the way I look at things. Like, I'm sitting here dissecting every little fucking thing with my little pin board and red string and everything. And he literally just looks over at me and goes, "Seriously, her nickname is Pin. How was she not going to be Lady Whistledown?" And I was like,
I didn't even think of that, bitch. That's why.
Exactly. Like, oh, why do you have to be this smart? But he's like, I love how fucking brilliant he is. And like I said, I'm a complete sucker for this man. He's just amazing.
Yeah, that's good. That's nice. I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
I don't think my husband would watch Bridgerton,
but I love it.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think I was going to talk Lake into it, but like, you dangle the mystery carrot, and then, you know, he watched it and he actually loves it. We listened to all the audiobooks together, and he's really looking forward to Benedict and Sophie's season, and Eloise and Philip, and I'm here for it.
Let's hope.
And then we've been enraged that Stephanie Plum doesn't have any kind of TV show, because Janet Ivanovich has written 30 fucking books and there's so much good content there, and yet like nobody can make a good show out of it. And like, the movie was decent, but Lionsgate released it at a really bad time, and then they were mad that it flopped when they released it against like a Harry Potter and a fucking Star Wars. Like,
do you think that Katherine Heigl was a good actress for her? Do you believe her?
Yeah, I do. Fully believe her as Stephanie Plum, and I loved it. And like, Janet was happy with it, so nobody else has any excuse to not be happy with Katherine Heigl being cast as Stephanie, because
I thought she did a good job.
Is happy with Katherine Heigl, and like, I thought she did a great job as Stephanie Plum.
Yeah.
But there's no excuse for there to not be a Stephanie Plum TV show, or a Gabriella Rose TV show, or like a Fox and O'Hare TV show. Like, this woman has worked so hard, and I've met her in person. She's fucking amazing, by the way. And put out so many books with so much great content and fodder. And like, I get so pissed off at movie and TV studios recycling old content and remaking old shit, when she's literally got a fucking gold mine sitting right there of so much content that could be turned into a fantastic TV show, or multiple fantastic TV shows. And it just hasn't been done yet. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Come on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because it has everything there. But I don't know. I think that Hollywood thinks that they know what everyone wants, and the truth is they don't. They really don't. But anyway, okay. So if there's no further questions, then I will, Anthony. So we are planning to have like a panel. We already have a few other fanfic authors who are interested in this, and we want to do this closer to season 2. But we're planning on like just talking about season 2 theories and just like getting the fandom together and just meeting people and stuff like that. And so we would love to have you on if you are interested in doing that.
Yeah, that'd be great. I
Um,
would be honored.
yeah, no, absolutely. We love your takes. Obviously, your work is great. Can we just thank you for taking the time, because 11,000 words is no joke coming from 2 writers. We understand that.
I've written
And
books, and like there are days when 600 words is like pulling teeth, so 11,000 words is fucking an amazing contribution to the fandom.
That's me right now with this new thing I'm working on. It's been weeks and I think I have 300 words written. So
And so if anyone wants to really take the time to appreciate, obviously kudos are great, but comments are better, because just it gets the fic more attention. And so anything that you have for us, Anthony, any questions or anything like that?
I mean, no, just thank you guys so much for having me on. It's been a blast.
Are you still nervous or anxious?
I am, but that's just me. I mean,
Okay.
even though I'm a professional yapper, I'm just also a little ball of anxiety all the time. So,
Well, keep us updated on the con. And if you
of
meet
course.
Walton, we might
Oh,
have to do
yeah,
another call for that if that were to happen.
there will be pictures galore.
Good. And yeah, so if we don't have anything else, thank you so much for being here. And we will definitely talk soon. All right, bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.